The boy lived in a small, crowded neighborhood, where the streets were always noisy with people shouting, cars honking, and children playing with whatever toys they could find. His house was tiny and made of old bricks, with a roof that leaked whenever it rained, and every day he woke up to the smell of cooking food from the neighbors, mixed with the dust and smoke from the streets, despite the hardships. He had a spark in his eyes that made everyone notice him. He was small, but his energy was endless, running barefoot across the uneven roads, chasing after stray dogs, and greeting every passerby with a shy smile. Even though he had very little, the boy never complained. He watched the world around him with curiosity, wondering how some people lived in big, shiny houses while others like him barely had enough to eat. One day, while walking to the corner store to buy a piece of bread, he saw something unusual. A man, tall and well-dressed, walked past the streets, carrying himself with confidence and a calm smile. He wore clothes that looked very expensive, and everyone around seemed to notice him. Some people bowed their heads politely, some waved, and some whispered, "That's the millionaire." The boy had never seen someone like him before, and he felt a strange pull in his heart, as if he wanted to know everything about this man. He started noticing the millionaire every day, watching him from a distance, hiding behind walls and trees. Trying not to be seen, he saw the man give money to a hungry man sitting by the roadside, and the boy's heart skipped a beat. He saw him help a small child who had fallen down and was crying, comforting the child gently and giving him candy. The boy could not understand why this man, who had so much, was so kind to everyone. It felt magical, and the boy wanted to see more. He wanted to follow him, to know his secret, to understand why he was different. People in the neighborhood started noticing him following the millionaire. They laughed at him and called him foolish, saying, "Why are you chasing someone who doesn't even know you?" They told him to stop, that he was wasting his time, but the boy didn't listen. Something inside him said that this was important. Something in his heart told him that following the man would change his life. He felt hope for the first time, a hope that maybe, just maybe, he could learn something from someone who seemed to have everything. The boy's days became filled with excitement and curiosity. Every morning, he would wake up early, clean his little worn shoes, and run down the streets to see the man. Sometimes he had to hide when the millionaire walked into busy areas, dodging people and cars. But the boy never gave up. Even when it rained, making the streets slippery and dangerous, he would still follow, holding his small jacket tight, trying not to catch a cold. His determination amazed even the older children in the neighborhood. Some secretly admired him, though they didn't say it aloud. He began noticing small things about the millionaire that no one else saw. The way he smiled at strangers, the way he spoke softly to children, the way he always made sure to help people quietly without showing off. The boy realized that being rich was not just about having money. It was also about having a kind heart, about caring for others, about making life better for the people around you. He didn't fully understand it yet, but he felt it in his heart, a warmth that made him run faster and follow closer. Every evening, when the boy returned home, he would sit on the small steps of his house, thinking about what he saw, thinking about the man who had so much but shared even more. He thought about his own life, his little house, his small family, and he wondered if he could ever be like that, if he could ever help people even when he had so little. The thought made him feel both sad and inspired. Sad because life was hard, and inspired because he realized that maybe one day he could do something great too. The streets were not easy for a boy like him, but every step he took behind the millionaire made him feel alive. It gave him a purpose, a reason to wake up early and face the difficulties of his day. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew that following this man was the beginning of something important, something that could teach him lessons he had never learned before. And even though no one else understood why he was chasing the millionaire, the boy knew in his heart that he was doing the right thing, because he was learning, growing, and dreaming, all at the same time. The boy's fascination with the millionaire grew stronger every day. He no longer just followed him quietly. He began noticing the little things that made the man different from everyone else. One afternoon, as the sun beat down on the busy streets, the boy saw the millionaire stop near a small food stall. The vendor looked tired and worried, struggling to carry a basket of fruits, and the millionaire didn't hesitate. He stepped forward, helped the man balance the basket, and even bought some of the fruits, smiling warmly as he handed the money over. The boy watched from a distance, hiding behind a lamppost, feeling something strange in his chest, a mix of admiration and longing. The boy wanted to talk to the millionaire, but every time he tried to think of words, his courage disappeared. He was only a small boy, and the man seemed so powerful, so confident, yet gentle. It confused him how someone could be so strong but so kind. He wondered if he would ever understand the world of people like him, who had money, influence, and freedom. The boy began making small plans. Thinking about how he could get closer without being noticed, he started walking the same streets at the same time as the man, learning his routine, memorizing the paths he took, and watching the people he helped along the way. One day, the boy saw something he had never noticed before. A young girl had dropped her school bag, and her books scattered across the road. Cars and motorcycles passed dangerously close, but the millionaire didn't hesitate. He ran forward, picked up the books, and handed them back to the girl, smiling. The girl looked amazed. "Thank you, sir," she said, and the millionaire nodded. "Always help when you can," he replied softly. The boy's eyes widened. He felt tears sting them as he realized the man's secret was not just in the money he had, but in his heart, in his actions, in the way he made life easier for others without expecting anything back. The boy tried to follow him even more closely, but the streets were crowded, and he had to be careful not to get noticed. He watched the millionaire stop at a small park and sit on a bench, feeding the birds with crumbs from his hand. The boy wondered, how could someone who had so much still enjoy simple things so much? There was a peace in him, a calm happiness, unlike anything the boy had seen before. For the first time, the boy thought about the kind of person he wanted to be, and his heart felt lighter. He realized that maybe following the millionaire was not just curiosity, but a search for something bigger: happiness, kindness, and purpose. Days turned into weeks, and the boy's persistence started to pay off. The millionaire noticed the little boy walking behind him almost every day, peeking from corners, hiding behind walls, and sometimes even sitting on a nearby bench, watching quietly. One evening, as the millionaire walked down a narrow street, he slowed down and looked back. His eyes met the boy's, and for a moment, both stayed still. The boy's heart raced, unsure if the man was angry, amused, or curious. The millionaire smiled gently, and the boy froze. He had never seen anyone smile at him like that. It was not a smile of scolding or mocking, but a smile that made him feel seen, acknowledged, and safe. The man nodded slightly, as if inviting the boy to come closer. The boy hesitated, then took a small step forward, feeling his legs shake with nervousness and excitement. This was the moment he had been waiting for, the moment when his curiosity might finally meet understanding. From that day, the boy began to notice another side of the millionaire. Not just the wealth, the clothes, or the reputation, but the quiet ways he cared for people, the small gestures of respect, kindness, and love that he shared without expecting anything in return. The boy's heart filled with hope, and for the first time, he believed that maybe, one day, he too could make a difference, that even someone like him, with so little, could follow the example of someone who had everything, and touch the lives of others. The streets no longer felt harsh or cruel to the boy. They felt full of lessons, full of possibilities, and full of inspiration. Every time he chased after the millionaire, he ran not just with his legs, but with his heart, ready to learn, ready to understand, and ready to grow. The boy had started his journey as a curious child, but he was slowly becoming someone who could dream bigger, hope stronger, and believe in the power of kindness. The boy's fascination with the millionaire was no longer just about curiosity. It had grown into something deeper, something he could feel in his chest every time he saw the man. One afternoon, the boy noticed the millionaire stopping near a small, run-down house. The door was broken, and the walls were dirty and cracked. Inside, a little girl sat on the floor, her face streaked with tears, and her tiny hand were clutching a worn-out doll. The millionaire knelt down beside her, talking gently, asking her about her day, and listening carefully. The boy watched quietly from the corner of the street, his eyes wide with amazement. He had never seen someone care so much for another person, someone they didn't even know. The millionaire fixed the girl's broken doll, wiped her tears, and then handed her a small packet of sweets. She smiled shyly, and the millionaire ruffled her hair before leaving. The boy felt a lump in his throat, realizing that helping others made the man happy in a way that no toy, no game, and no money could ever give him. From that moment, the boy began to see the millionaire not as a rich man, but as someone who had a heart bigger than the world itself. The boy started following him every day with even more determination. He wanted to learn everything about the man, how he thought, how he acted, and how he cared for people. It became an unspoken lesson for the boy, a guide on how to live, how to be kind, and how to help others without expecting anything in return. Sometimes the boy even tried small acts of kindness himself, picking up trash in the streets, helping a neighbor carry water, or giving a smile to a crying child. The millionaire never noticed these small actions yet, but the boy felt proud, realizing that he was learning something more valuable than money or toys. One day, the boy followed the millionaire to a busy marketplace, crowded with shouting vendors, hustling buyers, and people pushing past one another. Suddenly, a man tripped over a basket of fruit, falling hard to the ground, spilling oranges everywhere. The crowd laughed, and some even shouted at him, but the millionaire ran forward without hesitation, helping the man up, picking up the fruit, and paying for the broken basket. Then he smiled and said, "Everyone deserves respect." The boy's eyes filled with tears as he watched, understanding that wealth and power meant nothing without compassion and respect for others. The boy began thinking deeply about his own life, about his family, his small home, and the struggles he faced every day. He realized that he too could be kind, that he too could help others even if he had very little. The millionaire had shown him that true greatness wasn't measured in money, cars, or big houses, but in the way someone touched the lives of others. The boy felt inspired, and a small flame of hope started burning inside him, promising that he would try to be like the man he followed, not for fame, not for wealth, but for the joy of helping others. As the days passed, the boy began to notice that the millionaire was not just helping people randomly. He had a mission, a purpose, and he carried it quietly through his actions. The man visited schools, helped families in need, and always smiled even when no one noticed. The boy realized that this was the secret he had been chasing all along, that the millionaire's happiness came from lifting others, from caring, and from giving, and that anyone, even a small boy from a poor street, could learn this lesson and carry it forward. One evening, as the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the boy sat on a bench near the street, thinking about everything he had seen. His heart was full, and tears welled up in his eyes. He had started the chase out of curiosity, but now it had become a journey of understanding, of learning, and of discovering the meaning of true kindness. The millionaire had unknowingly become his teacher, and the boy knew that one day he would follow the lessons he had learned to make a difference in the world, just like the man who had inspired him so deeply. The boy had been following the millionaire for weeks now, and each day he felt a little braver, a little wiser, and a little closer to understanding the secret behind the man's happiness. One afternoon, as the sun shone brightly over the crowded streets, he saw the millionaire pause near a small park, sitting on a bench under a large tree. The boy crouched behind a bush, trying to watch without being noticed, and he saw something he had never seen before. The millionaire reached into his bag and pulled out a notebook, flipping through pages filled with numbers, names, and small notes. The boy wondered what it all meant, curiosity burning stronger than ever. As the boy watched, a street child approached, timid and hungry looking, and the millionaire immediately stood, kneeling down to the child's level. Offering him a sandwich and a bottle of water, he talked to the child softly, asking his name, where he lived, and if he had anyone to take care of him. The boy's heart ached and swelled at the same time, seeing this man, who had so much, treat every small child as if they were the most important person in the world. The boy felt something shift inside him, understanding that kindness was not just about big gestures, but also about noticing the small ones. The boy started thinking about his own life, about the people around him, and how often he ignored their struggles. He remembered the neighbor whose roof leaked every rainy season, the elderly woman who carried water every day, and the children who had no shoes to wear, he realized that helping others didn't need money. It needed heart, courage, and effort. And the millionaire was showing him that lesson in the simplest, yet most powerful way. The boy decided that one day he would do the same, and the thought made him smile quietly to himself. One evening, as the millionaire walked down a narrow street lined with small shops, the boy followed more closely than ever, hiding behind crates and corners, his heart pounding with excitement and nervousness. Suddenly, the millionaire stopped and looked directly at him. His eyes were calm, warm, and welcoming, and for a moment, the boy felt frozen, unsure if he should run or step forward. The millionaire smiled gently, as if he had been waiting for the boy all along, and nodded slightly, inviting him to come closer. The boy took a deep breath, feeling a mixture of fear, excitement, and hope, and stepped out from his hiding place. The millionaire knelt down to the boy's level, looking into his eyes with kindness. "I've seen you following me every day," he said softly. "Why do you come along?" The boy hesitated, unsure how to explain, but finally whispered, "I want to understand how you make people happy, how you help everyone, and why you always smile." The millionaire's smile widened slightly, and he nodded. "That is a very good question," he said. "It is not about the money, not about what I have, but about what I can give to others." The boy listened intently, absorbing every word, feeling a mix of awe and inspiration. For the first time, the boy realized that the millionaire was not just a man with wealth, but a teacher, a guide, and an example of what it meant to live with purpose. He began asking questions, small ones at first, about how to help people, how to notice their needs, and how to stay kind even when life was hard. The millionaire answered each question gently, sharing stories of his own childhood, the struggles he had faced, and how he had learned that true happiness comes from giving, not taking. The boy felt tears fill his eyes, understanding that this encounter was changing him in ways he had never imagined. As the sun set behind the buildings, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink, the boy and the millionaire walked together slowly through the streets, talking about life, dreams, and kindness. The boy realized that the chase he had begun out of curiosity had now turned into a journey of understanding, of learning, and of discovering the real meaning of happiness. And in that moment, he felt a deep connection, a bond that went beyond words, knowing that one day he would carry this lesson with him forever. The boy could hardly sleep that night, his mind filled with everything he had seen that day. The way the millionaire helped the little children, the kindness he showed to strangers, and the gentle way he had spoken to the boy himself. Something inside the boy had changed. He no longer followed the millionaire out of simple curiosity. He followed him because he wanted to understand life, to understand how someone could make the world better. The next morning, he woke up before sunrise, feeling a strange mix of excitement and nervousness. Today, he would follow the millionaire not just with his eyes, but with his heart. As the boy ran through the streets, he noticed something unusual. The millionaire seemed more serious than usual, his steps slower, and his eyes carrying a hint of sadness. The boy wondered if something had happened, but he did not dare ask. He kept a safe distance, watching carefully, waiting for the right moment to learn. Soon, he saw the millionaire stop outside a small, run-down building. The boy peeked from behind a corner and saw a woman sitting on a worn-out chair, her face pale and tired, her hands trembling slightly. The millionaire knelt beside her, holding her hand gently, and whispered something that made her smile despite her exhaustion. The boy's heart raced. He had never seen the millionaire comfort someone like this before. So personal, so real. It was different from helping children or strangers on the street. It was deeper, more meaningful. The boy realized that true kindness sometimes came with understanding pain that could not be fixed with money alone. The millionaire listened patiently, nodding, sometimes laughing softly, sometimes wiping tears from the woman's cheeks. And in that moment, the boy understood that helping others was not always about grand gestures. Sometimes it was about being there, fully present, and giving someone your time and attention. As the day passed, the boy followed silently, watching as the millionaire visited more people, some sick, some lonely, some struggling to survive. Each time, the man offered not just material help, but a piece of his heart, a word of comfort, a gentle smile. The boy felt tears prick his eyes, realizing that these small, quiet acts were what made the millionaire truly rich. Rich not in money, but in love, compassion, and human connection. The boy thought about his own life, the little things he could do, the small gestures that could make someone smile, and he felt a spark of hope. Later that evening, the boy noticed the millionaire sitting alone on a bench in the park, his head bowed, staring at the ground. Something felt different this time. The boy stepped closer, careful not to interrupt, and saw a shadow of sadness in the man's eyes. For the first time, the boy realized that even people who seemed perfect, who gave so much to the world, carried their own burdens, their own pain, their own struggles. The boy felt a pang of empathy, realizing that kindness was not easy, that it often came at a cost, but the millionaire chose it anyway. The boy's heart swelled with admiration, and for the first time, he felt a deep desire to help in any way he could. He wanted to share the lessons he was learning. He wanted to be like the man he followed, someone who could make a difference no matter the hardships. That night, the boy returned home with a new understanding. The world was full of struggles, yes, but it was also full of opportunities to make life better for others. All it took was courage, compassion, and a willingness to give. As he lay on his small bed, staring at the cracked ceiling, the boy thought about the millionaire, about the people he had helped, and about his own small actions. He understood now that following the man was not just about learning to be kind. It was about understanding life, seeing the pain and joy of others, and choosing to be a light in a world that often felt dark. Tears filled his eyes as he whispered quietly to himself, "I want to be like him. I want to help. I want to make people happy." And for the first time, he truly believed that he could. The boy had been following the millionaire for so long that he felt he knew him better than anyone else in the neighborhood. Every day brought new lessons, new moments of kindness, and new ways to understand what it meant to care for others. But today felt different. Today, the millionaire moved with a certain urgency, a seriousness in his steps that the boy had never seen before, curious and slightly worried. The boy followed more closely than ever, wondering what was happening. The millionaire stopped outside a modest building, smaller and quieter than all the other houses he had visited. A woman sat on the steps, her shoulders slumped and her eyes heavy with worry. The man knelt beside her, speaking softly, listening with all his attention and offering a small bag filled with groceries. The boy hid behind a tree, watching carefully, but then he noticed something that made his heart race. The millionaire's hands shook slightly as he handed over the bag, and there was a sadness in his eyes, a hint of pain that the boy had never noticed before. It was then that the boy realized that the man's kindness did not come from a place of perfection. It came from experience, from struggle, and from the understanding of suffering. The millionaire had not always had wealth or comfort, and somehow he carried those memories with him, using them to help others. The boy felt a lump in his throat, realizing that the man he admired so much had faced hardships similar to those the boy knew too well, and yet he had chosen to rise above, to give rather than to complain, to smile rather than to cry. The boy's curiosity turned into awe, and then into a deep desire to understand. He wanted to know why this man gave so much, why he helped people without asking for anything in return. He watched as the millionaire continued through the streets, offering small gestures of love, a hand to hold, a word of comfort, a gift to someone who had nothing. Each act was quiet, almost unnoticed by others, but the boy saw everything. And with each act, he felt his own heart grow, learning the value of compassion, empathy, and true generosity. Finally, the millionaire paused in a quiet courtyard, away from the crowded streets, and turned to the boy. His eyes were soft, but there was a seriousness in them that made the boy take a small step back. "I see you following me," the millionaire said gently. "Do you want to know why I do this?" The boy nodded, unable to speak, his throat tight with emotion. The man smiled faintly and began to share a story of his own childhood, of struggles, of loneliness, and of people who had helped him when no one else would. The boy listened, tears welling in his eyes, as he realized that the millionaire's kindness was born from a life of hardship and from a choice to turn pain into love. The millionaire continued, explaining how he had once been small and hungry, scared and alone, much like the boy himself. But someone had shown him compassion, had given him hope, and had made him believe that life could be better. That act of kindness had changed him forever, and now he wanted to do the same for others, to pass on the gift he had received. The boy's chest tightened as he listened, understanding that every smile, every gift, every small act of love was part of a bigger purpose, a mission to make the world a little brighter. For the first time, the boy felt a connection deeper than admiration, deeper than curiosity. He realized that the millionaire's life was not just about wealth. It was about heart, about choosing to lift others even when life had been difficult for him. Tears rolled down the boy's cheeks as he whispered softly, "I want to be like you. I want to help. I want to make people happy too." The millionaire placed a hand gently on his shoulder, smiling warmly. "And you will, if you carry this lesson with you," he said. "Kindness and compassion are the most valuable things we can give, and anyone, no matter how small, can make a difference." That evening, the boy walked home with a heart full of hope, understanding, and inspiration. He had started following the millionaire to see what made him special. But now he knew the truth. True wealth was not counted in money or things, but in love, care, and the courage to make someone's life better. And in that moment, he felt a promise in his heart that he too would spread kindness, one small act at a time, just like the man he had followed for so long. The boy could hardly contain his excitement the next morning. He woke up earlier than usual, his small heart pounding with a mix of nervousness and determination. Today, he would try something he had never done before. He wanted to act, not just watch. He wanted to do a small thing that could make a difference. Just like the millionaire had shown him, his hands trembled slightly as he tied his shoes, checked his little bag, and ran out into the streets, ready to chase not just the man, but the lesson he had learned. He spotted the millionaire walking through a crowded market, carrying a small basket of fruits. As usual, the man stopped at a fruit stall, but this time, the boy noticed a young boy nearby, looking hungry and nervous. He was clutching an empty cloth bag, peeking at the fruits with longing. The boy's heart ached, remembering how he had felt when he was hungry, remembering the lessons he had learned from the millionaire. Without thinking twice, he ran forward, holding a few coins he had saved from small chores, and bought a small bunch of fruits for the hungry boy. The boy handed the fruits to the child, who looked at him in surprise. "For you," the boy whispered softly, smiling shyly. The child's eyes widened, and a small smile appeared on his face, his tiny hands trembling as he held the fruits. The millionaire had noticed everything, standing a few steps away, watching quietly. His eyes were filled with pride and warmth. The boy had taken the first step to becoming the kind of person he admired, and the millionaire's silent approval made his heart soar. The boy continued following the millionaire, but now he saw the streets differently. He saw opportunities everywhere to help, to give, to care, even in small ways. A woman struggled with a heavy basket of water, and the boy ran to help her, laughing as she thanked him warmly. An elderly man dropped his bag of groceries, and the boy hurried to pick them up, feeling a happiness he had never felt before. Each small act made him feel stronger, braver, and more alive. He realized that kindness was not just about waiting for the perfect moment, but creating it with your own hands. Later that afternoon, the millionaire stopped near a quiet corner of the street. Noticing the boy trailing a few steps behind, he knelt down and smiled. "I see you helping others," he said softly. "How does it feel?" The boy's eyes were shining with tears. "It feels amazing, sir. I feel happy. I feel like I can make a difference." The millionaire nodded, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "That feeling, that joy, is the secret I wanted you to see. It comes not from wealth or things, but from giving, caring, and being present for someone else. And now you're starting to understand it." The boy could barely speak, tears rolling down his cheeks. He felt a warmth in his chest, a happiness so deep it made him want to cry. He had chased the millionaire for weeks, not knowing why, and now he understood. The chase had not been about money, fame, or even curiosity. It had been about discovering what it truly meant to care for others, to lift someone when they were down, to give hope when all seemed lost. The boy finally realized that the millionaire's greatest wealth was invisible. It could be felt by anyone with an open heart. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold, the boy walked home slowly, carrying a small bundle of fruits he had bought for another hungry child. His steps were light, his heart full, and his mind buzzing with all the lessons he had learned. He thought about the millionaire, about the lives he had touched, and about the promise he had made to himself. One day, he would spread kindness just like the man. One day, he would turn small acts into miracles. And in that moment, the boy understood that even a small heart could make a big difference. The boy had been following the millionaire for so long that he felt as if a part of his heart now belonged to the man. Every lesson, every act of kindness, every smile had left an imprint on his small soul. Today felt different, though. Today he was not just watching, he was feeling, understanding, and realizing the true reason behind his journey as he ran through the familiar streets. He noticed the millionaire standing in a quiet square, looking at the sky, his face calm but thoughtful. The boy approached slowly, his steps hesitant, his chest full of emotion. He remembered the first day he had started following the man, how curiosity had driven him, how fascination had kept him moving. And now, after weeks of watching, learning, and trying to help others, he finally understood. The millionaire had not only changed the lives of those around him, but had also changed the boy's heart, teaching him the value of empathy, compassion, and true generosity. The man turned to the boy and smiled, his eyes soft and kind. "You've come a long way," he said. "I've seen what you've done, the little things you've done to help others, and I'm proud of you." The boy's chest tightened, and tears welled up in his eyes. He had never heard such words directed at him before, words that made him feel seen, valued, and loved. I just wanted to learn from you," the boy whispered. "I wanted to understand how you make people happy." The millionaire knelt down to the boy's level and placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You've learned more than you realize," he said softly. "Happiness doesn't come from wealth, from toys, or from things. It comes from the heart, from caring for others, from giving even when you feel you have nothing. And now, you have that gift too." The boy felt his chest swell with emotion, tears rolling down his cheeks freely. He finally understood why he had chased this man through streets, markets, parks, and neighborhoods. The boy looked around and noticed all the people who had smiled, waved, or accepted help from the millionaire. Each act of kindness was a ripple in the water, spreading far beyond what anyone could see. And now he realized that he too could be part of that ripple. He too could make someone's life brighter. The boy felt a warmth he had never known, a joy so deep it made him want to laugh and cry at the same time. He thought of the hungry children, the lonely elderly, the struggling families, and he knew that his life had changed forever. The millionaire smiled at the boy, his eyes glistening with emotion. "Remember," he said, "it doesn't matter how small you are, how little you have, or how hard life seems. Every act of kindness matters. Every smile, every helping hand, every small effort makes the world better. And one day, you will see the difference you can make." The boy nodded, understanding fully now, tears flowing freely. "I promise I will," he said, his voice shaking but full of determination. As the sun set, painting the sky in brilliant shades of orange, pink, and gold, the boy felt a peace he had never known. He realized that the chase, the following, the watching, had all led to this moment, a moment of clarity, understanding, and transformation. He had seen pain, struggle, and hardship, but he had also seen hope, love, and generosity. And in that moment, he knew that he could carry the millionaire's lessons with him, spreading kindness, touching hearts, and making a difference in ways he had never imagined. The boy wiped his tears, smiling through the emotion, and ran ahead to help a small child who had dropped a bag of bread, just like the millionaire had taught him. He offered help without thinking of reward, without hesitation. His heart was full, his spirit strong, and his world forever changed. The millionaire watched from behind, a gentle smile on his face, knowing that his lessons had taken root. and that the boy he had inspired would continue the chain of kindness. And in that moment, the boy realized that chasing the millionaire had led him to the greatest treasure of all: compassion, love, and a heart willing to give endlessly.